Week 8 of the NFL season has now come and gone, so today we'll be going over the power rankings for the NFL post-Week 8. Trade deadline is tomorrow, so I'll probably be making a video about that as soon as some of those trades are done. Either way, let's get right into this video. Alright, so here's our tier list. Nothing different here. We're going to get right into this. At 32, we're throwing the Chicago Bears there. They have been very, very bad. And, I mean, Tyson Bagent has been not great. You don't expect much. He came from Shepherd University. Granted, he can throw football better than Justin Fields can, so he has that much over him. Either way, the Bears just, they don't have much to play for. There's not much going there. Yeah, is what it is. Cardinals are a close second at 31. They just really don't have much they're playing for either. They at least have some fight in them on a game-to-game basis. They've pretty much been involved and close in pretty much every game, which is honestly impressive enough. So I got to give them that much. They fought back today against the Ravens and almost had that game, won. But either way, is what it is. Panthers finally get a win against the Texans. It was a good week for them. They won 15-13 in a really messy game, but hey, they've done something. Bryce Young got a win under his belt. Maybe they can make some more improvements on that. The Patriots are going to go to 29. What am I saying? I don't know. Not a great week for them either. It is what it is. They played the Dolphins again. It happens. There's not a whole lot you can expect when you play a division rival who's way better than you. So, is what it is. The Houston Texans are at 28 because this really gave them a shock of reality, in my opinion. And this is what I was telling y'all for the last few weeks. They're not that good. CJ Stroud is playing fine, and that's awesome. That's great. Good for him. I love it. But at the same time, they're really not that great, and they're not gonna be that great because they're the Texans, and they don't have the Jimmies and the Joes on their roster to be a great team right now. Moving on from them, the Colts. They're probably going to sit this or lower for the rest of the season simply because of their roster outlook. Gardner Minshew is not going to let you do much. Granted, their running game's been good, and he's serviceable enough to keep you in games, and as long as your defense is holding up, you're going to be fine. And they were able to pace the Saints, and that's good, but it is what it is in this sense at the same time. Things like this happen. Don't have to make a big deal about it. The Raiders, they had a messy game that they just finished against the Lions. Not a whole lot to look forward to there. I think they should just go ahead and start starting Aiden O'Connell just to see if he can be anything for the future. If he can, great. If he can't, whatever. I don't know, man. There's just not a whole lot of, expectation for this team that makes a whole lot of sense and makes you excited. So just start him. Just do it. After the Raiders, the Giants come in. They have just been bad. This game against the Jets this week was one of the most messy games I've ever seen in my life. Just an ugly, ugly game. There's not much for this team here either. Tyrod Taylor, Danny DeVito had to play starting quarterback, so it's just not good. After them, the LA Rams, they got beat up on by the Cowboys, and everybody thinks the Cowboys are now the favorite in the NFC because they beat the Rams. Little bit of confusion on that one to me. Yeah, the Rams are an okay team, but let's take away 3 players on their offense and they become the worst team in the league. So I don't know what the whole hype is about the Cowboys beating the Rams. Either way, we'll get to them later. Moving on to the next team, it's the Packers. This is going a little faster today, but the Packers are just they're not a great team. Jordan Love has not been very good since week 2 pretty much. And it's going to stay that way. I don't know if it's the young receivers or if he had a good couple first games because no one really had any film on him, didn't know what he was going to do. And now that they've seen him play, there's just not a whole lot that you can do to, keep up with him. There's not a whole lot of things going on that is really hard to put up with. He's not that talented of a player at this moment. I don't know. Those are just all compiled in things that, they lost to the Vikings this week and Kirk Cousins left that game. We'll get to them in a minute as well, but yeesh. After them, the Broncos are taking a pretty good jump to 22. They beat the Chiefs and did it in a very good fashion. And I'm going to stop here for a minute and talk about them for a second because they look like the better team in that game. They really did. The Broncos just beat them up. Oh, Mahomes had the flu. I don't care. So did Jordan, and that was one of the best games of his career. Either way, Yeah, I don't care about the flu because he really was moving fine. You really saw a lot of Mahomes doing the right things. The team just played worse. It's not just Mahomes had the flu. The Chiefs played worse than the Broncos, is what it is. The Broncos defense stepped up. And, 2 weeks ago, when they played the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, they could have won that game had the offense been just normal. And that's what we saw today. The defense stepped up. The offense just played normal. And, as bad as the Broncos have been overall this season, a lot of it has been the defense not holding up while the offense has played good. The defense was able to hold up yesterday, and the offense played just as good as they normally do. The Vikings are going to be next. This is mainly because, yes, they won, and yes, they probably could be on a higher end tier than this, but with the loss of Kirk Cousins, it's pretty much game over for this season. That just basically ensures the Lions are going to win this division. I would be shocked if Jaron Hall or what's his name, Nick, the guy who played for the Niners for a minute there. It starts with an M. I don't remember. Either way, whoever it is, it might hit me in a minute, but it's really making me mad that I can't think of his name. I'm going to be honest with you. Either way, they're not going to be that good this year, and if I'm them, I think you really have to consider whether it's worth just straight up tanking and trying to get Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams put out that list of teams he'd play for, and the Vikings were on that list. So, would it not be worth it to try and tank for Caleb Williams when you have all the reason in the world? Your quarterback's out, your receiver's out for a little bit of time. Lose games. Just go lose. The Browns are going to come in next. They've won some lucky games. Their defenses look really good. The offense has been brutally bad. PJ Walker's not been that good. It's just been, a lot of do things that don't get you killed, and the defense will carry the rest, and that's what they've done, and that's been fine for them. That's great, but that really didn't prove to work against Seattle this weekend, and it kind of showed you where the Browns are as a team right now. Deshaun Watson gives them a much better floor and obviously a higher ceiling, but will he be back anytime soon? I don't know. The Falcons are going to be next, and Desmond Ritter's not very good. He got out this game. Taylor Heineke came in. He played better, so I don't know. Don't be shocked if Desmond Ridder loses his job here shortly. So, that's just going to happen. Bijan played decently this week after being pretty much a non-factor a week ago. Either way, just an interesting week for them overall. The Jets played a very messy game, but I agree with the statement that I saw Dan Orlovsky make on TV that Zach Wilson played well. Yeah, his numbers might not look amazing, but just because he threw a ball out of bounds and threw an incompletion doesn't mean it was bad. Sometimes it's better for you to make an incompletion. Just like how fans were tearing up Chris Collinsworth for saying that Justin Fields needs to watch Tyson Bagent's film. He does. He doesn't know how to take a safe play and make the game continue. He ruins the Bears' offensive chances every time he steps on the field because of his stupid decisions. And, there's a skill to knowing when to take an L on a play, but giving yourself another play's chance instead of just turning the ball over. And that's what Zach Wilson did. That's what Tyson Bagent does. And that's what Justin Fields needs to learn. The next team we have will be the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis played this week, and I told y'all, man. Yeah, if you go back in my draft stuff, I told y'all I had him higher than Anthony Richardson. I thought about maybe putting him over C.J. Stroud, but I couldn't do it. But I thought about it. It's in my draft stuff. Go check it out. It's there, I promise you. Will Levis has the arm talent. And what he has over Anthony Richardson for now. Anthony Richardson probably long-term will be a better player. But at this moment in time, he is much more pro-ready. He has the field reading abilities that he just never had at Florida, Anthony Richardson, that is. So there is a lot for Will Levis. Is he going to continue this streak of 4 touchdown games and just, run out the rest of the season and somehow win Rookie of the Year by only playing 8 games? No, he's not. He's going to have struggles. He'll probably struggle this next week. But especially being a short week against Pittsburgh, a good defense. But Will Levis is a decent player. Let's stop acting like he's not. And the Titans got a steal, and he could be their future. The Saints had a good week offensively. The defense let the Colts score a lot of points, but it is what it is. They won a game, and that's what matters, winning games. They are definitely an upper echelon team in the NFC just because of the NFC is not that great. But they just got to continue rallying together some wins and don't let Dennis Allen's coaching get in the way. And they'll be a good enough team to probably make some movement here shortly. The Commanders probably at the lowest point they've been in a while. It seems crazy that their 15 is, low for them. But, man, Sam Howell's so good. He has proven that week after week after week after week, but this team is ruining him. Sam Howell's team is killing him right now. If you just put him on an island in terms of how good he's playing, the team is great right now. It's just not that. The team can't hold up, whatever that means. But, yeah, it's just, it sucks because he's made so many good plays, and it's just so interesting to watch him because he's just an improviser, and it's insane. It really is. Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are giving up here because, yeah, they took a tough loss to the Jaguars, but Mitch Trubisky this week proved why he is a backup, and a good backup. Mitch Trubisky is a good backup because the difference in, I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny, and I've said that a million times on this channel, but the thing that Kenny does have is the clutch gene. Kenny has proven enough to be clutch, and that's a very good gene to have. That's not even some of the best quarterbacks like, that mid-tier, Jared Goff and Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins. Some of them don't even have the clutch gene. Kenny does have that. He's proven that multiple times. Mitch Trubisky does not have that. Had we had Kenny in this game, 2 of those interceptions don't happen. Well, one of them for sure. The triple coverage to Deontay that was picked off by Andrew Wingard, whatever his name is, that doesn't happen. So this week is going to be rough with Kenny potentially being out on a short week, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. But the Steelers overall, they're a decent team. They're 4-3, and they probably shouldn't have been that far because of how bad the offensive coaching is. Either way, moving on. The Bengals have risen to a new height again, giving up the 3rd straight loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Great for them. The Niners are overrated. It just is what it is. I've told y'all about that since the season started. They're a good team. Just because you're overrated doesn't mean you're bad. But Brock Purdy has a ceiling, and, well, we saw that this week. The Bengals were the better team, and they're getting kind of scary. I'm going to admit, they are looking like, the Bengals that you should be worried about. So, yeah, they're finally coming together, and it's going to be interesting to see how fast they get really going. Next is the Bucs. A tough week against the Bills, but the season so far, they have been decent. I've got to give them that. If they lose next week, they will start falling quickly out of this top, the teen tiers. They'll probably drop into the 20s pretty quick if they lose next week. But for now, they're still at 12 just because of they've had some good wins, and I'll give them that much. After them, the Chargers put up a pretty good win themselves this week against the Bears. Not to say that's very hard to do because the Bears stink, but they did win, and they won in a good fashion. I liked what I saw from Quentin Johnston in this game. Finally, he got some playtime that looked good. Keenan Allen's a boss. Austin Eckler is finally back, and that's a huge improvement for this team, and that's going to be a big deal on their way to trying to make another good playoff run. Moving on, the Cowboys hit a new low. They beat the Rams so good, whatever. They're the Rams. They're not that good of a team. Without Stafford, who got hurt in that game, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua, they are nothing. They are probably the worst team in the NFL. So, yeah, I don't care. They also lost to the Niners, and they lost to the Cardinals. So, yeah, that's good enough for me. They're at 10. They're just not convincing, and as long as you have Dak, you're not winning. After the Cowboys, the Niners slipped down real far. Oh, they're banged up, and they don't have this, and they don't have that. Well, Brock Purdy is an issue, and he's going to be an issue. He's a fine quarterback. I like Brock Purdy, the player. I just hate the hype that San Francisco and NFL fans give Brock Purdy for no reason. He is not that good of a player. He's fine. He's a mediocre quarterback. He's a mid-level, average back-end starter. That's about it. That's all you can say. He does the right thing. He's got a decent IQ. His arm is not super talented. He's not got the best strength. He's not got the best mobility. There's a lot of things he doesn't have. He just has the will to do the right thing and take the check down. Great for him. Either way, moving on. Kansas City goes in the next. This is a big drop for them considering where they are. I mean, they are one of the better teams in the league. That's still a fact. But losing the Broncos is going to hurt you one way or another. Yeah, that's a rough one for sure. And they're falling down to 8. That I've been telling y'all, while they've won games, they're not convincing. They have almost lost to a bunch of teams that they should not even be close to. And it's just, yeah, it's a little bit concerning to me. The Jaguars are next. I was hating on them for a little while. Their defense was a little skeptical to me, but they've really put it together in the last few weeks, and they're becoming quickly a very full team. Etienne is a guy. Trevor is a guy. The receivers are actually playing a little bit worse than I expected, but that's fine because they have so many other weapons. The defense is playing a lot better now than they started off the season playing, so they're looking pretty good, and I would be worried about the Jaguars if I'm anybody else in the AFC. After the Jaguars, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, they had a really good win this week versus the Browns. They looked good in it, too, while wearing those old throwback jerseys. Looked real good. Either way, Geno is really stepping out this last couple weeks, and he's proven his worth a little bit. Yeah, I talked a lot of crap about him, and like I've told y'all, I'm going to tell y'all when I'm right, and I'm going to tell you when I'm wrong. I've been wrong about Geno. I was right to the start of the season. He's pushed that past, though, and he's looking like a really good quarterback right now, so I'll give him that much. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens had a iffy game this week. Yeah, they won, but he didn't really play particularly well, and that was against the Cardinals, who almost came back and beat them. It's pretty concerning to me, in my opinion, and just in general about, letting the Cardinals almost get back in that game, because the Cardinals are literally the worst roster I've seen in probably my entire lifetime, as long as I can think of. Maybe the Lions that 1 year, maybe the Browns that 1 year, but they're pretty dang bad, man. Either way, they're up here, but they don't have a whole lot of footing, I don't think. One bad week, even if as a win, if they have a win that's just rough, they could drop all the way down to about right here. So, Ravens are on thin ice there. The Lions are going to be next. They have been very good to this point in the season. And, they're 6-2, and they're going to run away with this division now that Kirk Cousins just went down. It's just going to happen. And they're a real threat. I think after tonight's game against the Raiders, it's the Raiders. Yeah, you're right. It is the Raiders. They're not very good. But their defense played extremely well. The offense is one of the better offenses in the entire league. This team has a lot to work with. And, they just put up a stinker to the Ravens when they played a good team. They did, sure. But the offense is better than that and the week they had against the Ravens. And I just have the belief that when it comes down to it, they have enough players on each side of the ball that are playmakers to actually do something, unlike some other key teams in the top 10 of this tier. Moving on from the Lions, the Bills are next. Not the most convincing week from them, but they've still been one of the best teams in the AFC. They're one of the only teams that has proven that they can beat good teams. So, I give them that much. I can't think of another team that's actually had to play good teams and beaten good teams. So, the Bills are still going to float up towards the top. And part of that is just because they have the most complete team in the AFC right now. Whether it be the offense and the defense, each level of the defense, each level of the offense. They're way more complete than the Dolphins defensively. Not to mention have a better O-line. The Dolphins have better overall weapons, but that's about it that they have over them. They have a better quarterback in Buffalo. They have a better defense all the way around. They have a better, O-line. You get the point. The Bills are just the better overall team. I don't care what the record is. As long as it's, relatively good at least. The Dolphins are next, though. They look really good. They do. But at the same time, they have struggled against good teams. The 2 times they've played good teams, they've lost both games. The Bills and the Eagles. And so that's where they fall. Could I put them under the Bills? Sure. But this explosive offense does give me enough for now. They're basically 2A, 2B. But I leave it there for now just because the Bills have had some concerning losses, but I still give them credit. The Eagles do land at 1 once again. They reclaim their top spot, and that's because, they are the most complete team in the league right now, and it's just not a debate. The offense is there. They have a receiver who is killing it in A.J. Brown. They have a defense that's starting to step out again. It looks really good. I'm ready to see this team at full strength. Jalen Hurts is obviously hurt, and he's still playing pretty well. So, this is my power rankings for the midseason mark. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe. All those things help me out a ton. I'm on the road to 1,000 subs. We'll do another jersey giveaway as soon as I hit 1,000 subs. Either way, thank y'all for watching. Peace.